Yay, we're recording.
We are recording. I'm gonna lower my seat. I can't.
All right, we're gonna get everything situated now that we're recording. So,
Yes.
welcome back to Talking Spatial. I'm Sean, and
I'm Linda.
I'm gonna get this right
You're up there for
eventually.
me. It's the Brady
That's
Bunch video. You're up there.
that's Linda. Oh, I'm here.
For me, you're up.
Okay, you're over there
You're in
for me.
space, John. I'm everywhere.
That's
I'm
quite
in
true.
Blortasia. I'm in Blortasia. And
You are totally Blortasia.
I have to ask Kevin Mack if he minds if I use his background because I love it so much. I am connected to him, so I will ask him officially if it's okay. Because technically, this is commercial, although it's not yet.
Well, I'm pretty sure what I'm sitting in is commercial too, but I'm not gonna ask. I will beg forgiveness if.
Well, obviously I'm doing that too because it's there.
Right, yeah. So it's literally like you grab what you grab, and once we take over the world,
yes,
people are going to be like, hey, could you use this for your background, please?
I'll be like, I don't know. How much is it worth to you? Just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do love Blortasia, and I am hopefully flogging it because I love it, and therefore I have the background because I think Talking Spatial, it is literally the most spatial thing you can see. So
it is pretty spectacular, and we have talked about it on the show, and now people can kind of see behind you what we're talking about. But unfortunately, like many things in VR, it's cool looking.
It is,
but it doesn't translate.
Doesn't at all.
Yeah, like it's you have to put on the HMD and you have to dive in, and you really
we experience the world in 3D, so it's much closer to our lives, like what you are as a human. Like 2D just doesn't. I love 2D. I've got enough pictures up in my room that you can't see right now, but yeah, I know it's not the same. It's awe-inspiring, but we've talked about that. So
yes,
now
we'll talk about new things this week. New things in they're topics that you came up with for something that I'm going to let you describe because I don't want to step on any embargoes or issues that may get you in trouble. So
no trouble.
Okay. No trouble.
Yeah, I said I would do a quick wrap up of some of the stuff I did for the Facebook talk this week, which I think went really well, despite my talking 95 miles an hour, because I was really worried I'd go over time. So instead I came in way under. I just hope it's actually, you can actually understand the words, because it was like, blah, blah, blah. And then of course, halfway through I lost my transcript. It disappeared off the screen. So then it was a grinding halt, and then it was back to 95 miles an hour. So I apologize for that to Facebook, but stuff happens on a live feed.
Have you ever noticed though, like in your brain, you think you're rambling and you're flying through something, and then when you listen to it back, you're like, oh, that's totally acceptable. I get that all the time.
22 minutes opposed to 30, so that's quite an increase in speed.
But still, I guarantee you, when you listen to it back, you're going to be like, so. Oh, that's fine.
I hope so. I kind of cringe when I listen to myself talk, though. So there's that,
I do it all. With the radio show, I used to listen back to the radio show, and during the actual recording of the show,
yeah,
we were live actually on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, this was live to 66 people, I think, and then they had a bunch. Yeah, so they leave it on their server afterwards for people to watch recordings, but 66 live saw me lose my transcript halfway through. You just laugh and go, oops, it happens. There's nothing much you can do.
Here we go.
Yeah, no, it went really well. It was a fascinating subject. They asked me to talk about where my vision for virtual reality, or immersive tech to be specific, not just VR, but immersive tech 5 to 10 years out. And it to me, what kept coming back to my mind was, the history of the world, part 1 and part 2, because I did it in like 22 minutes. But I had some ideas, and to do all that, of course, it can't just be, well, I think this is going to be really interesting and just come up with, stuff out of nowhere. So what I did is I rooted it in some digital trends that we've seen happening over the past, 20, 25 years, and then extrapolated how they're going to be sped up and affected by the opportunity to have immersive tech, and then these things marry and merge and vector analysis and all that stuff. So one of them is the increasing both need and demand for personalization. I have to stop disappearing. This is live, it's not live, it's still bad. I think is the amount of data that we are subjected to and have access to, it increases. Obviously, the need for personalization has increased. Like you only get what you want to get. You don't get bombarded, by 10,000 bits of news and information and data all day long.
Yeah,
right.
If we all got all of the information that's out there for everyone, if all of us got every single piece of it,
yeah,
we wouldn't be able to breathe.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
you would.
Increasingly we personalize our feeds. And there was a TV show called The Feed, which is actually quite good if people want to see it, because it's kind of related to that in a way. And then for immersive tech, of course, it's in your space. It's in front. It's on. You're either in the space and it's in your space, or it's literally AR is over your physical space. So it's like in your space. So the need for personalization is even more. So I talked about that, and I talked about the increasing tribalism and the need to make sure that as a social network, because it was to Facebook, that I think they have the opportunity to facilitate communication between tribes. So it's not just, we're forming virtual tribes and we're finding people that are like-minded all over the world. In the next 5 to 10 years, that will only increase, especially with VR. I think you can jump in VR and, connect people everywhere who are interested in the same thing you are. I was making cookies all week. I'm making a very odd, obscure German cookie from the 16th, 17th century called Springerly. Lots of people do it, but it's kind of obscure. But like, there's people all over the world who make these things, right? So all of a sudden, I've got a Springerly community that's, I'm making Springerly and such. And all right, fine. That's just an example. But I used as an example the fact that Second Life went to this part 14 years ago, it's a stage where everybody was putting up walls and there were just islands of walls and you couldn't go anywhere and there was no experience. So on the one side, virtual communities are forming. So either you allow a lot of walls up, and then there's only those people are become echo chambers in those little communities, or you create the circumstances that there's more cross community communication and interaction. So I think that's a challenge that Facebook can either help or hinder.
I think we're going to put up the walls ourselves, no matter what the companies that are facilitating that tech.
I agree. I think we're going to,
as humans, we're going to find our own kind, right? I mean, we're going to find, it's crazy how we do that, but
of course. And I think obviously, but I think that at least the opportunity to message and talk across communities is important, because none of us are members of only one community, right? There's lots of circles, and the circles either overlap. Like I used to make, as I was a metalsmith. I had jewelry community. I have VR creation community. I have my immersive tech community. I have all these different communities, and some of them overlap, some of them don't so much. And I think that's just a mind map of most people's way they have in the world. Like, you have your own communities, right? You have your racing communities. You have your gaming communities. Like, you have all these different communities too. So we have communities that overlap. So I think there's an opportunity for creating the circumstances where these communities are actually communicating across, not just I talk to this group, I talk to this group, I talk to this group. They're never, the twain shall meet.
Yeah, I mean, but it takes compelling content it takes compelling content that sort of creates that bridge between whatever community you're trying to get to talk to another community, or it's we have this thing. At least I've seen it over the last decade, especially, where we have the ability to reach out and touch a higher percentage of the planet than we've ever had the ability to touch.
Yeah.
And then as a human race, we still figure out how to say, I don't really want to hear that.
We're tribal. I wrote this years ago, and some people have agreed, some people have disagreed, but I think we're like wolves. Like, we form packs. We have leaders within those packs. We're not very nice to people who aren't in those packs, right? I mean, we're wolves, and people have taken umbrage to that, but I find the similarities actually quite interesting. Like, we take care of our own.
Yeah.
We are hostile to people who are from the outside. We tolerate a few who are on the peripherals edges sometimes. But the way people it's a mental tribe as opposed to a physical tribe like wolves, but we are, we have alpha dogs, we have followers, we have leaders. It's all kind of the same. I don't know.
It really is. I didn't mean to sidetrack us at all, but
No, it's fine.
I just keep thinking about the communities that are created within, might as well be spatial computing now,
Right.
the XR reality that we're basically pushing towards, and trying to figure out in my mind, how do you bridge the gap between motorsport simulation community that I'm a part of,
Yeah.
and someone else on the other side of the world who loves to make shoes, or
It might not be much. I mean, you could consider them, they're both makers in a way.
yeah,
right?
they
I'm
are.
not saying it's Facebook's job to create that content, but I do think it could play a role in making sure that those communities can talk and interact if they want to, versus in Second Life, they literally put up virtual force fields, and like you couldn't even enter islands, and you could fly around in Second Life and you would go boof and you would hit against the force field because somebody had put up their island had a force field and you were only allowed if you were invited in. And so it became a conglomerate of islands of force fields where you could only go where you were invited, and that really is the ultimate. You cannot mix with people unless you're already in their tribe. Right. And I'm just saying that has got to be ideal if that were not the case. People might vociferously argue, as they do. They might, stridently disagree with each other and argue and call each other names and all this stuff we see on social media, but at least they're talking to each other. They can talk to each other,
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I had this memory of just flying around. It cracked me up because I was like, boof, you keep hitting it. Your little avatar is floating along, and then you go, poof, you hit it. Oh, it's another force field. Like I couldn't even get it.
You're flying along and you see a world that's like 123 lasagna recipes from around the world, and you're like, oh, that sounds amazing. And then like, boom, like I just wanted to make lasagna, man.
Sorry, I've been sick ever since my talk because I didn't sleep much before a couple weeks. I've been working on a lot of things.
Aware.
I hit a wall. Physically, my body said no. So I've been sick for a couple of days.
So what you need is 123 different lasagna recipes. That'll bring you right back around.
I would love that. It's more like 120,000 cookies this weekend, but
it's a shame that we're nowhere near each other. Natasha and I would come by for cookies in a heartbeat, man.
Well, we can't go visit people, so Sean and we're sending family of his cookies, so lots of different cookies. This is not a cookie blog, but I made biscotti and I made Mexican crinkle and I made spirulina, I made gingerbread and I made chopped chip. I made a whole bunch of different cookies.
It's a cookie blog now, damn it.
Yeah,
I'm all in for some. I don't want my cookies.
Any of them.
Here's the thing. I know we are talking spatial. I do not want virtual cookies. They're useless to me.
Wouldn't it be cool if they? So I know people are working on Smellorama for VR. So
I've seen a couple of those things. There was one that actually got to Kickstarter, and then they had to kill it.
Because, why? It didn't work.
It was something to do with the chemicals that they were using to mix. Yeah. But I mean,
extra chips.
Just a little bit of THC in the chemical or what? I really don't know what it was, but it was something to do with FDA. It was actually FDA approval because you're mixing chemicals to create these smells, and then you're inhaling them. You're basically ingesting them, and the FDA got involved, from what I understand.
Wow, I guess that's true. It is. Well, it's like perfume. I mean, that's what.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's the first time that I had heard of a peripheral being shut down by. I think it was shut down by the FDA. But it was like literally they were close, and they already had a Kickstarter, and they had a bunch of people that backed them. And there's another podcast that I listen to all the time, and one of the hosts had actually backed it, and It was the F Reality podcast. Actually, it was Mike from F Reality, and he was like, "I backed it, and I'm really excited, and this and that." And all of a sudden, he's like, "And they killed it."
So my sister and I had talked ages ago about she's a programmer, and we had talked about like making a virtual pill. So you just take your virtual pill, and all of a sudden everything that you see is really loopy and
they have that already.
I'm sure they do.
There are multiple substances that can
I'm sure
achieve
they
that
do.
goal for you.
They just like play with your environment, and you can like experience it in a different way. Yeah. So we got back.
I think nature has provided that for you. If you'd like to go find some mushrooms, you'll.
I know, or blortasia, which we
yeah, or blortasia with mushrooms. Woo.
It's true. I did not think about putting any substances in the cookies that are going to his, 85-year-old aunt nun in the convent. So
they loved it. I mean, she
might want to. She's been in lockdown for so long.
Yeah, she may really need that.
Yeah, they have a lot of COVID cases in the convent, as it turns out, and this is a retirement home for them. So yeah.
Oh no.
It's a community. You can't be alone. Like they have their own rooms, but communal kitchens, communal bathrooms, communal. So she's justifiably scared.
She needs a quest. She needs to be able to get out. Like I
still needs to eat though.
Yeah, she definitely. Yeah. Some 16th century cookies are definitely gonna.
Yeah. Well, yes, and chocolate chip just in case they're too far out.
Oh, I'm all in, man. I'm all in.
So what else? I think
let's get back around to your Facebook chat.
I mean, it was good. I think I'm going to take some of the ideas and the content and just wrap it up into some sort of an article or something. Cool. And then pitch it to Forbes or something. It was good. It was good. I noticed this week that Myst has launched in VR. Did you ever play Myst?
I tried. Did you play it? I tried.
I don't like games. I just don't like games.
This is.
I might try Myst. Myst is the one that I was like, that looks like fun. I play Tetris. I'm not a gamer at all.
Myst was more of a puzzle though. Myst, like if you like puzzles. If you like puzzles,
I don't know.
You'd like it.
That's what a lot of the news is talking about. And the other thing is the fact that Keanu Reeves that was one of the things I also talked about with Facebook speech, is the blurring between, entertainment and media and retail, and all those things converging into, I want to have fun in my retail experience. My retail experience will be wherever I am. So it can be in my room. It could be me going to a store and having an experience with AR in space, or it can be a virtual reality recreation of the store, or something completely different. Why does it have to be the store? So, I really think that within a couple of years, retailers are going to realize, they already realized that physical locations are, a limited opportunity right now. And, I know some of the higher end stores have done it. So Dior has launched their online or VR Dior store, but it isn't truly. It's 360 capture. So it's their store. You can walk through it, but you can't pick up the bottles. If you click on something to buy it, it takes you to their website still. Okay. Like I'm saying initially, I think that they're going to recreate the store. So it's like walking into Barney's, which unfortunately does not exist anymore, but that was always a fun experience. Why does it have to be a store with shelves? Why can't you buy something if you walk into a game situation that happens to be things you can buy on the way? All those things are going to start blurring. So, so I mentioned in the presentation the Steampunk 2077, because Keanu Reeves is appearing in the game, and I know that's something I'm going to definitely just try as well.
That game looks insane.
I've heard I'm going to lose, my other half for a couple weeks, probably.
More than likely. And honestly, if you want to bring Sean on to talking Spatial, because I'm about that, I have to get it, and it could be the Sean and Sean show talking about Cyberpunk, because it's definitely going to happen.
Games than I am, so that maybe we that'd be a good idea. Actually,
it might not be a horrible idea at all. You're talking about why does the store have to be a store idea, and expanding on that.
Exploring that in my speech. I'm like, I think initially they're going to go, virtual reality, we have to recreate the store. And that's what we've seen, right? You and I were in, what was the name of that multiverse?
Yeah.
Multiverse was a store, like the shelves,
Mhm.
it recreates reality, which is a halfway step as far as I'm concerned, because why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just go, you know what? I'm going to understand my brand, whatever my brand is, right? And I'm going to recreate an experience that reflects my brand. And that isn't necessarily stores with shelves on it. It can be an adventure to, I can see Tom's shoes, which I talked about in my TEDx talk. Like they did a really good job of integrating VR into some of their stuff, showing them going to the villages with the shoes and the kids getting the try on it. You could actually be there as they did it all, which was very cool. But their brand is about giving back and a bunch of other things. So, they recreated a VR experience that could do that. But why does it have to be separate from a store? Like, why would you make a store? So in their case, they would make it, you could go on a trip with them to Bhutan, and as you're walking with them, you notice your shoes are not as comfortable as they should be. Oh, I'm going to buy your shoes instead. Or
Right.
you can integrate all that stuff as
Like
opposed
if you're Cannondale and you're trying to sell bikes, you could
right,
have your mountain bikes could be sold on the out in the middle of Moab.
right. Or think
Literally,
about it.
like
I mean, what was it? That drink. I'm sorry, I'm tired and sick, and I forget the name of that. That drink that has gives you wings. I remember
Red
their
Bull.
slogan. Red Bull. Red Bull does
Yeah.
so many really cool events around the world. Like when I lived in London, they were doing one where they had, you could ride the bike and fly off the.
Oh, the
and,
Flugtag. Yeah,
you know,
Flugtag is insane. I wanted
right,
to do
right.
that
So
forever.
why, they've done such a creative job taking what their brand means and translating that into actual experiences. And I think that's the kind of thinking that's going to hopefully start taking over. And it depends on the shopping. If I go shopping for milk, I just want milk. But if it's,
You don't
I
want to buy
can't,
your milk from a dairy farm?
I want to go, I want to milk the cow myself in VR.
You have to
But
walk amongst the cows
yes,
in
yes, I want to be
VR.
the
And
cow. I want to be the cow that,
what if you get to choose your cow? You
if you
literally
choose the cow,
get to walk through the dairy and you be like, I want Bessie. I want
Bessie.
Bessie number 43 right over there. That's the
Bessie has
milk
the
that I
pretty
want.
things, and Bessie and I have a thing. So yeah, we're gonna have. I'm gonna drink your milk, Bessie. No, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? I mean, all of that. I just think that Red Bull did such an excellent job of taking what their brand is and translate that into experience, and that's kind of thinking that I'm hoping a lot more retailers and brands, for that matter. I mean, it's going to disintermediate stores. You don't need the store anymore for this stuff,
So we
really.
need, I'm looking at this twofold now. I'm looking at a Walmart sitting on the rings of Saturn with no walls.
Or you know what? Even
And
more, to be whatever people want it to be. And what if they don't want? They want Walmart the experience. Not sure why, but they would. And they're like, I don't want Walmart on Rings of Saturns. I like you like Rings of Saturn. I like Blortasia. I want Blortasia to be my Walmart. That's a little out there, but
no, it's real, but it's not because it could be. And it's
sure.
really, I mean, all the tech is there to make that a reality right now. It's literally just grabbing puzzle pieces.
The part that isn't there yet is v-commerce, and there is starting to be some people that are doing it where you can actually purchase in VR.
Yeah.
Right. So there's
Yeah.
right now they still all go back to an e-commerce website, which is just a standard website. So it takes you out of the experience to do that. I don't see why you can't. No, mine's not the best example right now, but there's a little can of milk sitting on top of that hole there. And I go, yeah, I want that. Bing. And then it's in my shopping cart. And then it comes to my house within the hour. Amazon has local deliveries. Like, why can't you build your shopping cart based on that, as opposed to I want to put it in my basket then check, like the very grid oriented shopping we still have on websites for the most part. You still got to go there, you got to get out of the experience. Why
I'm
does it
99.63% sure that those puzzle pieces exist though, to where you could make that a
yes,
reality without having to really create or code anything revolutionary to make that happen. I could be wrong, but I think that you could create a VR based store really easily. I don't think it would be complicated in any way. I'm
I would
simplifying
like
it
to
a
get
lot.
somebody on the show who knows for sure if that would or not be, and what the challenges would be. Let's find a guest who can talk to that.
Okay, we can definitely do that.
Yeah,
We know
because
people.
I'd like to know why not. And then AR, I mean, AR has two applications, right? It has your in space application for shopping. So I'm sitting here in my room and I want to put my feet up, but I got nothing to put my feet up on. Oops, I need a stool. All right. Let's see the different stools that I can buy, which we can already do with some websites. And they're accurately sized and placed and lit, which they are as well. And yet buy it and ship to me. Or there's the AR, I'm in a store and I want to know 10 recipes I can make with this ingredient. Bink. And then you go point at the product and above it, there's like 10 different friends of yours have used this in one of their recipes and posted it on Instagram. Therefore, you can say, nope, 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 maybe. What else do I need for this? Okay, AR, I'm going to pick this one. Take the product, but then you've got the recipe and it knows that you need 3 more things for it that you don't have in your pantry, right? Because it knows that and it tracks that. So therefore it goes, you still need to pick up this, this, and this. And by the way, they're 2 aisles over in this store.
And you've never left your house to do all of that.
You could do that.
That's
you
crazy.
could do that, or you could do it in the store
where you're in store with AR.
Store and then have it be. So one of the things they're talking about a lot is takeover. So when you're in a store, like there's no rights around this stuff yet, right? So this stuff is all kind of still being shaped. So you're in the store and you're looking at I don't know, pick a brand. What's a brand you like? Campbell soup. Let's pick Campbell soup. So you got Campbell soup. I like Campbell soup too, actually. So I like beef vegetable soup or so whatever it's called. So you go up and you look at the can of beef vegetable, but you can have another brand if you hold up the AR to it, can actually take over that can, for example. So they can block out your brand with their brand, for example. So a lot of people in the retail space are talking about the takeover opportunities. And my answer to that is, well, that's great, but what's your answer if you're the brand being blocked, right? Like, are we going to have supermarket wars over labels?
Yes. Yeah,
right?
You would. Yeah, because they're already, they fight to the death for shelf space.
They have to. Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine though, if you were Campbell's and then all of a sudden
you're not there?
Insert another brand here that literally is
Progressive. Progressive goes on the aggressive. There you go.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Progressive. They're always doing that. They're so aggressive. Just kidding.
Yeah. We all know how aggressive Progressive is. Good Lord.
Really, honestly. Can't get over it. But the takeover stuff is quite fun. And I talked about that in one of my talks as well. I'm like, what happens if you're the brand who's being taken over? Everybody's like, oh, I love this takeover opportunities. I could take over another brand. Like, yeah, that's just one half of the equation. The other one is, what if you're the brand being taken over? What do you do about that? Like, and there's no rules or regulations, or nobody owns that space. It's like virtual air rights for your brand.
We're not decades away from that as a possibility.
No, it's already possible. It's just that it's still, AR is not as penetrated into the day-to-day of people as it will be.
Yeah.
But now you got to dial up the app. You got to hold up I know there's web-based, but for the most part, you're like, hold up, have to.
Yeah, but once everybody has
glasses,
they are embedded in their glasses that has 180-degree field of view, and it's basically not human eye resolution, but maybe it's 4K or whatever it is off of out in the distance. It's then all of a sudden it's a real thing, and that tech is not that far away.
No.
But the other side of this that you could have some fun with, though, is you walk in. Let's go back to Walmart, shall we? You walk into Walmart and George Clooney is there, and he says, "Hi, welcome to Walmart." Or you're literally like, you could have sponsored Walmart greeters. You could be walking down appliance aisles and you turn the corner and digital George Foreman is there going, "Buy my grill." or like, that would be insanity.
I didn't load this up, otherwise I would show it to you. There's a great little interstitial type blurb that I found about a kid who is going shopping for a toy, and as he goes to the toy aisle, he holds up his iPad, and the toys, like, it starts a game, and they're like, the game, and he's actually like, making the game happen with the toy that he wants to buy, and then he loses, and it's very cute. They got a good little kid actor. He's like, you can see him going. It's really sweet. And so he starts up again, he plays it again, and then he actually got enough points to win. And so then he grabs a toy, walks the checkout, and he holds up his iPad, and he got a 20% off because he bought
Because you won.
because he won. But it's a really good example of integration between real and AR and shopping and all that stuff. And how much fun shopping can become because that was what I was talking about, was the blurring between entertainment and shopping. And I think that brands and actors and Hollywood are going to get more involved with retail, and retail is going to get more involved with entertainment. And those things are all going to start to become one. And to your point about George Clooney and the ends, I mean, I think Keanu Reeves in that 2077 thing is Cyberpunk is an example. He's a real
it's the current example. There have been a lot of mainstream actors over the last couple decades that have appeared in video games. This one though is just because of where we are with tech right now. It's going to be, I think, a lot more engaging than previous games with A-list actors.
Well, the thing is, why stop at Keanu Reeves? I mean, this one picked him. The game is pre-written, but why not being able to flick through my favorite stars and pick whoever I want to be in it? And then they get a license fee.
Yeah, with deepfake, you're going to be able to do that.
I prefer Jason Momoa to Keanu Reeves. So why not have Jason Momoa be my Johnny Silverhands as opposed to Keanu Reeves? Like, sorry, I'm still sick. It's charming, isn't it?
That was awesome.
Yeah. My God. Hurts.
I'm ordering you some Ricola right now.
I need to sleep. Part of the problem, I can't sleep. It keeps me up. But I mean, why not have any actor you want generated onto that object that happens to be the human in the game? And then if you're going to go that far, why not have the game auto-generated based on preferences you have? Why does it have to be all pre-formatted with, this technology will all happen.
Yeah, I mean, the game has the ability. I've actually watched a little bit of a couple trailers and some reviews of what's going on with 2077. And like a lot of titles now, you have the ability to push the story in multiple directions just by how you want to interact with the environment. And and it's, you could literally have one character that potentially can go in 3 different directions as far as what your key motivation is in that world, and then that affects the things that happen around you and how the game actually unfolds. And it's a fairly open world environment from what I understand.
Well, I talked about that too, because I think TV, we call it TV, media entertainment, is going to move that direction too, because it only makes sense that if people are increasingly demanding personalization and they get used to personalization and they want it the way they want it. So I think Netflix, had a couple of shows they launched. Not all of them worked. They were kid shows that were choose your own. Bandersnatch was a pretty big success. I think more because it was the idea that you could choose your own ending versus I personally didn't think it was that entertaining, but a lot of people loved it and they kept watching because they tried all the different iterations, so the attention the show got and the amount of people who watched it over and over and over again was pretty amazing. The engagement levels. I think it had a possible 5 major outcomes, and within that there was like 30 minor variations of that. But it's still a script, right? It's all like a treat.
Choose A, B, or C,
so it's
kind of thing.
Right, exactly. So, I think, like I said, retail and entertainment are going to start mixing. Entertainment and sorry, I'm so tired. I think all those things, retail, entertainment, and media and entertainment, and personalization, all those things are going to start within the next 10 years. We'll have a fairly personalized world, which will be nice.
We haven't had cable for 10 years, and we
really?
left. Yeah, we left cable. It's got to be at least a decade, if not longer ago. And it was mainly because we wanted to personalize our experience as far as, cable was useless to us because we had things that, we want to watch this, and this.
Right.
And I can get that just by having an internet connection. And then we got Netflix. We have Netflix, Hulu, and Prime.
Right.
Prime Video is amazing.
Right.
Because I think, Jeff Bezos doesn't have enough money, so we'll give him a little more. And he says jokingly,
Yeah.
but honestly, the dude's brilliant. So I can't fault him for that. He is
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. But I have noticed lately that I watch most of the stuff that I watch on YouTube.
I've been watching a lot on YouTube as well.
I watch a ton of YouTube, and so
Yeah.
does Natasha. And it's because you can go out and find whatever you want to find whenever you want to find. Like
Yeah.
I really want to build a slot car track in our den. I want to build a little oval slot car track. So I've gone out on YouTube and I've found 5,000 different ideas on how to build what I want to build. And it's all right there. And all you have to do is just go slot car track. And
so isn't it the death of authority and the death of institutions? This all feeds into that. Like we don't accept the authorities anymore because we're like, well, we have 10,000 ways to find out ourselves. And I think the death of authority and the death of institutions and trust in institutions, it all feeds into that. Because like you said, I've done the same. God knows, I would YouTube ads these last couple of years, and I went in to learn the most obscure kind of jewelry technique that only the ancient Greeks ever did. And God help, there's a video out there of somebody doing it, for real. And so it's also shorter. It's not, you don't sit there for an hour necessarily. You have 20 minutes. So let's watch something for 20 minutes. But I think people younger than us are already onto that, like between Twitch and all the other ones. It's free format, community generated, short format.
Yeah, it's
content snacks.
It's allowed us, it's technology has allowed us to basically say we don't. And you talk about the death of authority. We can go out and we can create what we want to create, throw it out to the world, and if there's enough people out there that want to pay attention to it, then all of a sudden you have a way, if you want to actually make a living doing something that you truly truly love. And all you have to do is create that tribe and using using technology that we're talking about on a regular basis. It's all available. It's all out there, and I say easily done. Nothing's easily done. You still have to dedicate yourself to it in order to make it happen, but you don't need to go in and pitch NBC and CBS and ABC anymore.
The gatekeepers are gone.
But
flip side is
no, not yet, because YouTube's still a gatekeeper and Facebook is still a gatekeeper. And
the problem is that as the barrier to entry lowers to the point of like what we're doing, two people in their own home with a microphone, which I got, and a computer, it becomes very crowded. So how do you stand out? So that is the flip side.
I think there's still a lot of, you need to know what you're talking about, obviously, but you need to be entertaining. But even on top of that, there's a lot of right place, right time, right conversation. Oh my God, this actually just tipped over and happened. Like most people who end up being successful on any form of social platform, any form of tech platform, there's a lot of know-how behind it, but there's also a lot of things that just can't really be explained. That was sort of a mix of everything happening right at the right time, and all of a sudden the whole half the world knows who you are. And I mean, there've been a lot of social media influencers. I hate the term influencers, but
I know.
Influencers that had literally, I mean, they posted a video and then all of a sudden it was like they had a couple million followers, and do with that as you will. And I think we're going to probably need to wrap this up because I don't want you to lose your voice.
I'm not going to lose my voice. I'm just, I think it's beautifully deep right now. Don't you think so? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
think it's beautifully deep.
I know. It was just, yes, I know. I still got
awesome
stuff to do this weekend, but I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say this week. I would love to talk more about gaming And I would love to talk more about the stuff you've been working on, the gaming rigs,
Sure.
and the need for that, and where
So
you see
many
the
different
opportunities
directions.
for that are, and where you see the opportunities for that one are, and stuff like that.
The opportunities are here, 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 and here, here, and everywhere. And that's a Disney quote. Yeah, it's nuts. It
Good.
really is. It's great. It's great up until the point you have to go, we're gonna do this. And
So if we
it's,
just
I think,
had, I guess we shouldn't, we should save that for a future talk, but
yeah,
I'm curious to hear, and this is an honest question, a gaming rig, how is it different than virtual reality?
it just gives you an ergonomically comfortable place to get deeper into and immersed into whatever it is that you want to do. For our motorsport setups, and I don't want to get too deep into this because this is an entirely other show,
Yes,
but
yes.
for our motorsport setups, it's literally about recreating that comfortable seating position that you would have in whatever race car or street car or airplane or whatever it is that you're trying to recreate, so you can sit and actually be comfortable doing it for long periods of time, and also
Yeah.
so it feels like the environment that you're simulating. If I'm sitting at a desk with a 20-inch monitor in front of me and a steering wheel clamped to a computer desk in an
Mhm.
office chair, every time I hit the brakes, I push myself away from the steering wheel, and I got to pull myself back up to actually it's the reason why gaming chassis exist is to ramp up the immersion and go, oh my God, I really am in a car. And then
Right.
you throw VR on top of that now,
Yeah.
especially with the current generation of headsets, and you're there. It's
Yeah.
the
So do you
environment
remember,
is 1-to-1, and it's depth of field, and it's like, oh my God.
do you
Um,
remember when we were younger and you would go to like a carnival or something and they had this room on four legs that would go like this?
yeah,
You would get it and there'd be a little screen at the
yeah.
front and it'd be like, "Arr, arr, arr." Like that was really fun. So it's just a much, much better version of that.
It's a million times better version of that you can have in your own home now, and
Right.
not spend tens of thousands of dollars on if you don't want to. Now,
Right.
here's the way that I describe what we do with simulation and gaming. It's kind of like racing in general, and if this will go over like a lead balloon for people who don't care about
Right.
any form of racing or cars or mechanical stuff. But the way I describe the motorsport side of simulation and gaming is, in the real world, if you want to go fast, people will say speed costs money. How fast do you want to go? And that dictates how much money you're spending on whatever it is that you're putting together.
Right.
In simulation and gaming, immersion and realism cost money. How real do you need it to
Right.
be?
Right.
And I adopted that about a decade ago, as far as the way to sit down with someone who understands the real world expense of going faster or developing whatever, whether it's a plane, a tank, a car, the space shuttle, whatever it is. If you understand what goes into developing that in the real world, then it's very easy for me to equate that from the hardware side of getting you immersed into the simulation environment, the gaming environment, the way that I just did.
Right.
Immersion costs money. How real do you need it to be? And the cool thing is, the longer that we live, the less expensive it gets
Of
to
course.
get you more and more immersed in the environment. Like the HMDs that we have now, the Valve Index, the HP Reverb G2,
Mhm.
even the Quest 2. The Quest 2 resolution is unbelievable for a $299 entry level price
Yeah.
point. Like it is. It's not the death of screen door, because the death of screen door isn't going to come until we get to about 16K. Um,
Right.
but at 4K, it's really good. It's close to 4K. Um, you have to really look for the screen door effect in the current generation consumer headsets. And then you go to Vario and Xtal. I've experienced the Xtal headset, and I experienced that a couple years ago. It's even better now, but it was compared to this was just before the Rift S launched that I tried the Xtal for the first time, and I put it on my head, and I was like, I never want to leave. I literally never want to leave this world. And then Vario, I haven't gotten a chance to try the Vario. They've got I think it's the VR3 is what they're coming out with. They're VR3 and XR3.
Right.
And they have eye tracking built in, and it's definitely a more enterprise level solution than a Rift or an Index, or it's a $5,000 entry level headset versus a $1,000 Index if you need the base stations and all that stuff. But if you're an enterprise level company and you need a VR solution to help you develop the interior of the next Volvo that is coming down the pipe in 5 years or something like that, having that near human eye resolution, just pop it on and you're like, oh, I'm here, and here's the steering wheel and the shifter and here's the dash. It's epic, absolutely epic. And I'm literally going into another show right now.
When I was doing the Facebook talk, they asked a bunch of really interesting, good questions at the end. And one of the questions was, I think it was probably from a hardware engineer at Facebook or Oculus, but he said, what do you think are the limitations that are most important to overcome for the headsets? And I'm like, well, I said the weight for one, because you can only wear it for a certain amount of time before it gets heavy. I said that the field of vision has to get bigger, right? So it's not just here. And the sweet spot, which is, because it's heavy, it's hard to get situated exactly where the sweet spot is quite small. At least for me it is. I mean, I don't know that, but I'm assuming that's universal. And because it slips, because it's heavy. I said this for me are the big issues with the headset that need to improve. It needs to be easy to put on and easy to just use, not the headset getting it set up right. In my case, I don't know what people without hair do, because I put a bun in my hair and I kind of hang it off the bun a little bit back here, so that it's got an anchor point. Right.
That works.
I mean, and it's just things like that. It needs to be like, oh, I'm going to put VR, and you got your kind of, steampunk goggles that are closed on the side, and it's just light and easy, and you can use it. And there's limitations to how many hours you can be in it because it's uncomfortable. Like, we still have far to go, but I thought it was a great question. They asked a couple really good questions. I appreciate that, because I think it means they were actually listening and interested.
I think they're truly invested in pushing the tech. There's no doubt about that. And the Quest 2, as far as ease of entry into a VR world, the Quest 2 is by far
agreed
the quickest way in. It's literally put it on, turn it on, you're in. There's really no setup. There's setup, but there's minimal setup. And once you get it set up, you're done.
I
haven't had to touch my
the health and safety videos. Right. Do not stand near a wall. If the barrier goes up, do not go beyond it. Yeah, I know. But
do not play 11 table tennis and think that you can lean on the table in front of you.
But you only have to sit through them once.
I've almost fallen through my door in the living room twice because I got so caught up in the world of 11 table tennis that I was like, that ping pong table's real. I'm in on it. And you're like, you just
my sister, who never wanted anything to do with VR, because and I've heard this from other people, tried it once and it wasn't very good. It gave her a headache. I never want to do it again. This is you're my sister. You're not allowed to not like VR. I'm sorry. But she got a Quest 2, and man, she's loving it now. So she's doing Supernatural, the workout one.
Yeah.
She's absolutely, and she's never been a fan of working out, but she's like, I don't mind doing it because it's so much fun with this. This do it.
Yeah, we're gonna hang up here, and I'm gonna go. I've got a cadence monitor and power monitor for the Proform bike that I got, and there are three different pieces of software that I am going to run off of virtual desktop into the Quest 2, and I'm going to sit on my bike and ride, and I'm going to be able to ride with people all over the world and ride up the we can do the Tour de France route, or we can ride up the Rockies, or I can ride through the Swiss Alps, and I never have to leave my home. And
Will the famous bike riders slow down to keep up with you?
no, they'll leave me in the dust, and that's fine. I'm doing. I'm on a quest to become unfat. I have many opportunities to drive race cars again in 2021, and right now, Chubby Sean is not really in shape to hop in a race car for 2.5 hours in the real world. In the sim, I could do a 4 hour stint,
Right.
but I don't have G forces trying to rip my head off my shoulders when I'm in the sim right now.
Right. Well, it's a noble cause. A noble cause.
It is a noble cause. It needs to happen, and I'm 50, man. If I don't get in shape now, I might not ever get in shape again. So I gotta.
I'm gonna try the Supernatural just because my sister raved about it so much.
It's pretty epic. I mean, I have been using Thrill of the Fight is really cool if it's a virtual boxing deal. But
so how does that work? Because what I don't understand is part of it. I have been boxing in the real world. I actually enjoy hitting things, believe it or not, and kicking things too. Like kickboxing, I really like. By no means am I super fit or anything, but I just happen to like that. But what part of it is, you hit something. How does that work in VR if there's no actual?
It's a little weird. That is the one. That's the one component that's missing, and I do find myself, because I have a torn labrum in my right shoulder, and it's a slap tear. It's smaller. It hasn't gotten to the point where I truly need surgery, but like when I really go,
you can really throw your arm out.
You could tear if you were really throwing or punching, because you don't have that resistance at the end of it. It is a little unnatural in that respect, and I find myself holding back as far as max power, just because I don't want to throw a punch and then have my shoulder fly in front of my fist.
Is there any opportunity, because I thought I saw this, to actually have a punching bag that hangs up and has some sort of feedback to the game?
Yeah, I think there's a couple out there already.
Virtual, but that they knows where the bag is.
Yep.
And
I think they have sensor bags actually now that you could. I don't know whether it would integrate with Thrill of the Fight, but they have their own training programs. But Thrill of the Fight, for being all VR, if I hop in there and I play around with the heavy bag, and then they've got this dummy that's like an upper torso that has a lighting system at key places on like the body and the head, and it'll give you combos that you swing and you get the lights. So you've got these combos that you're going through, and then you switch over and you can speed bag, and then you can do the agility bag where it's like the ball on the bungees. You hit it and it bounces away and it comes back at you, and you got to get your side to side going on. And then you can hop in and actually spar and fight with virtual opponents. And if I spend 20, 25 minutes in that title, I feel it the next day. I come out of it like I'm
the same. She's like, you don't even notice because you're having fun, which is kind of a key, right?
And I'm standing there like literally can't catch my breath, standing there after a 3-round boxing match.
I have to give that one a try.
I can't hardly breathe. And then I'm like, yeah, I'll do 3 more. Like it's just it gamifies it, and it turns off that part of your brain where you're like, I'm about to die. Because you want to keep going. And a friend of mine, actually, I was telling him about Thrill of the Fight, and I was telling him about, I am oxygen deprived at the end of this thing. And I was like, and he said something to the effect of, if you die, you die. It was Ivan Drago from Rocky. You remember? If he dies, he dies. That one's cool. God, there was another one that I was trying. The Climb.
Okay.
The Climb is literally, you're just like climbing mountains and stuff, but it's a lot of time doing this, and that really doesn't seem like that big a deal until you do it for 15 minutes straight, and you're out of shape. And
hilarious.
After 15 minutes, you're like, that really is starting to hurt.
I am not a huge fan of exercise.
I'm not either.
I mean, I like to walk, and I will walk like an Energizer Bunny for, an hour or two easily. But I don't like to, gym, like make it a thing. Like I just never. I grew up. I went to a prep school. They forced us to do sports for 2.5 hours a day for 5 days a week until I was 18 years old. And then by the time that ended, I was like, it just put me off because it was so forced.
Right.
Except for tennis. That was the only one that I will kill myself to keep playing tennis. That was, like you said, you just keep going because you're like, it's fun. That was the only thing that ever got me going was this.
There's a tennis. There's a tennis thing in VR that we need to try.
I know, but it doesn't feel the same as having a ball. Like,
probably
anyway.
not, but it's still like even the ping pong. The ping pong doesn't feel the same, but it's still addicting.
It's still fun, right? But there must be something. Like my sister is the same as me, so if she says this is really fun and she's doing it every day because she's like having such a great time with it, you're like, maybe I should give it a try. It'd be,
Yeah, these biking things that I'm getting ready to give a try. I am trying to tap into the I love to race competitive nature of me.
Right.
And if I can tap into that with something like this,
right,
then I will drop 100 pounds over the next 10 months because I will literally be on it every spare moment that I have, just because I get to a point like with any of this stuff, it's like, oh, I can set a record. Okay. It's like
that does nothing for me. Funny enough, I'm so not competitive about them stuff. I'm like, all right, I was last. Oh well, like I don't care.
I don't care. I don't care about it in anything other than racing. And for whatever reason, in racing, and it's bikes, go-karts,
well, if that's what gets you
going,
you just got to fight. Everybody's got to fight. For me, I'm not competitive about sports or anything. I'm just as happy to be the last person with the the drink in my hand and the bad joke afterwards. I really don't care. It doesn't motivate me at all. That's why when I've had gone to gyms and there's personal trainers and they're like trying to motivate you by showing you how bad you're out of shape, you're like, yeah, I know I'm out of shape. I got to this stage and I'm in my 30s and 40s. I know I'm out of shape. It's all right. I'm okay with it. If I wasn't okay with it, I would be out of shape. It's all right. I know. Like it's just chill.
We have an appointment next week to go to she's a nutritionist among other things. She's a doctor. She's like a doctor of many things, and we booked an appointment to go in and basically start getting ourselves back on the right track, because we're not getting any younger, and neither of us are in the best shape of our lives. And Helen, when I was talking to her about why I want to come in and see you, she's like, well, why do you want to come in? And I'm standing right in front of her, and I just looked at her and I'm like, Helen, you have eyes. I'm fat. I was like, I'm fat. I'm not in denial about it. I know I'm fat. Like you get people every once in a while like, man, you need to lose a couple pounds. No shit. I know I need to lose a couple pounds. And if VR can help me do that and gamify it and like keep me.
It's a great tool then. I mean, it works. Yeah, you just got to find what it is that makes it fun for you. For me, a Tetris version of workout would work for me because I like if you have to reach up and put the objects into space. Like,
have you tried because there is that VR Tetris that evidently
yes, I've done it. It's still 2D Tetris in VR though. It's not like I would say instead of climbing, like you have to reach for all the pieces and put them together. Like that might be exercise for me. I don't know. But I will try the Supernatural just because my sister said it wasn't completely off-putting.
Have you tried Beat Saber?
Huh?
Have you tried Beat Saber? Beat Saber is actually a fairly decent workout on higher levels. You find it boring? Okay.
But I played tennis for a lot of years, so I'm actually quite coordinated. So it's like, yeah, okay.
What about Pistol Whip? Pistol Whip is supposedly. I haven't tried that yet. It's kind of like Beat Saber with guns. There's guns, Linda. There's guns.
I like to draw. And that if there was a competitive drawing program.
Okay, we'll get tilt brush work. The tilt brush workout.
Drawing program with a rock climbing program, maybe. But yeah, I am quite happy to be sedentary. And my sister once said, "You've lost your body's need to move." Oh, fuck off! Like she was really skinny. Then she got pregnant and she hit a lot of weight, so now she's not. But yeah, that's
awesome.
It doesn't do much for me. Everybody has other things that they tap into, right? Yeah. So, and I think that's benefit of something like VR is how immersive it can be. It just has to be something that is, important to you and motivates you. So if racing gets you going, good for you.
What if I could create the track on one of the pieces of jewelry that you've designed in VR, and you get to run around?
A lot of right angles.
You get to bike around a bracelet.
I find it tedious. I just don't have a word for it. I just really do. Now I can spend 3 days trying to, granulate little tiny microscopic sized balls of gold onto each other. And that is not tedious for some reason, but yeah, that kind of sports always just, I find tedious.
Okay. I'm trying.
Know thyself. Isn't that something Socrates said? Or
That
something?
is something. Yeah, that's something. And on that, we have gone well above and beyond time-wise what we said we were going to go.
Yes, I know.
So I think
Well,
we'll kill this episode.
as always, a pleasure, and that is why we keep talking.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I'm going to go make some mince pies. I will talk to you soon.
That sounds really good.
His aunt's like that, so.
Okay. All right. Well, that was Talking Spatial for this week, and that is, I got it wrong again. That's
You're for me, you're up there.
That's
It's
Linda.
Zoom thing, I think. Well, it's been fun.
It's
been real, and it's been fun. It's actually been real fun.
Yeah.
So we will talk again soon. And
Yes.
again, if anybody has any questions or comments or any specific issues they'd love for us to address, we would love to hear it. And let us know.
Topics you would like us to talk about. If you happen to be an expert or really passionate about said topic, maybe we'll bring you on as a guest.
Yeah.
Guests are definitely coming.
Argue with me that sports are fantastic. They can do that. They can try. Oh,
it's awesome. Hope everybody has a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. If I can hit stop recording.
Yeah.
There we go. Again, bye-bye.